everyone is chasing luxury. A lot of people just want a lower cost of living, less financial pressure, and a place where their paycheck actually stretches. In a country as big as the United States, that's not unrealistic, but it does depend on where you live. Across America, there are states where housing costs are lower, everyday expenses are more manageable, and life feels less like a constant race against bills. These places don't promise perfection. What they offer instead is breathing room, the chance to live comfortably, save a little, or slow things down without feeling financially trapped. In this video, we break down the top 5 cheapest states to live in America based on real cost of living data, not hype. Not to tell you where to move, but to show you what affordable living in the US actually looks like. So if you choose one of these states, you do it with clear eyes and realistic expectations. Number 5, Kentucky. Let's start with number 5, Kentucky. On paper, this looks like the perfect escape. You see pictures of green hills, horses grazing in the fog, bourbon barrels, and houses that cost less than 200 grand. It feels like a steal. You can rent a nice place for $1,100 a month. Compared to the big city, that is basically free. But let's talk about the cost that doesn't show up in your bank account. Let's talk about what this does to your body. When you move to a place just because it is cheap, you are often moving to a place with no doctors. And Kentucky is ground zero for this. I am not a doctor, I am just reading the numbers. And the numbers for Kentucky are scary. Reports from late 2025 show Kentucky still has some of the highest lung cancer rates in the country, and the survival chances are low. But it isn't just cancer. It is heart disease, it is obesity, it is diabetes. You have to ask yourself, why? Is it just bad luck? No. It is the way the place is built. It is the grocery store problem. In a lot of these cheap towns, the nearest place to buy a real vegetable is a 40-minute drive. But the nearest dollar store selling junk food is 4 minutes away. When you live in a cheap area, you don't get a Whole Foods. You barely get a regular supermarket, so your diet changes. Your choices get smaller, and slowly, your health starts to look like the local economy. Then there is the access problem. Specialists don't set up shop in towns with 2,000 people. They stay in the big cities. If you have a stroke in rural Kentucky, your life depends on how fast an ambulance can drive down a winding road to a hospital 2 counties over. Seconds count. But in cheap states, you wait minutes, or even hours. That is the hidden tax. You save money on rent, but you pay with your lifespan. And let's look at the jobs. Kentucky has factories and farms. But look closer at the small towns. The coal jobs that kept these places alive for years are gone. They aren't coming back. They got replaced by service jobs that pay almost nothing. So you have people working harder for less money. That creates stress. When you move here to save cash, you are moving into a place full of financial stress. You might have a good job working from home, but your neighbors don't. The local shops don't. The schools don't. You become a rich island in a sea of struggle. And that loneliness costs you something. So here is the bet you make with Kentucky. You get the cheap rent, you get the pretty view, but you are betting your life that you won't get sick. Is 5 years of your life worth cheaper rent? Because statistically, that is the trade you are making. Number 4 is Georgia. If you love warm weather, sweet tea, and southern charm, this is the spot. Everyone talks about Atlanta. Atlanta is booming. It has the busiest airport in the world, the film industry, and the tech jobs. But it is also expensive. The median home price in Atlanta is hovering around $400,000. In nice neighborhoods like Buckhead, it is over $500,000. That is not where the bargain is. The real opportunity is in the rural towns. That is where you can buy a farmhouse for $60,000. That is the price of a used truck. It is peaceful. It is quiet, and the cost of living in these rural counties is 16% lower than the national average. But to make this work, you need to understand the 2 Georgias. Rural Georgia is quiet because the industrial jobs have largely moved on. If you move there expecting to find a high-paying job locally, you might struggle. The local economy is often built around agriculture, schools, or local services. But if you bring a remote job, you live like royalty. Your salary goes 3 times further here. But you need to be strategic about the infrastructure. First, the internet. This is non-negotiable. Georgia is working hard on rural broadband, but there are still gaps. Before you fall in love with a historic home, check the address with the local providers. If you work in tech, you need fiber, not DSL. If you can't get a hardline budget for Starlink, and check the sky visibility for the dish. Second, the heat. Georgia summers are hot and humid. That $60,000 farmhouse might have single pane windows and no insulation. Your electricity bill in July could be $500 if you aren't careful. So part of your budget needs to go to energy efficiency. Seal the windows, blow insulation into the attic. Service the AC unit immediately. Think of it as an investment that pays you back every month. Third, the culture. Small town Georgia is built on relationships. It is built on the church and the high school football team. You don't have to go to church if you don't want to, but you need to find a way to plug in. Volunteer at the food bank, go to the Friday night games, shop at the local hardware store instead of ordering everything online. When people see you investing in the town, they will invest in you. They will recommend the honest mechanic. They will tell you which plumber shows up on time. That social capital is worth gold. And finally, look at the land. Land in rural Georgia is fertile and relatively cheap. This is your chance to own acreage, to have privacy, to have a workshop, to build something that your grandkids will inherit. If you bring your own economy and respect the local culture, Georgia is a paradise. It is a place where you can slow down without giving up your ambition. Number 3, Alabama. Number 3 is Alabama. This state is a powerhouse of geography. You have white sand beaches in the south, you have the foothills of the Appalachians in the north, and in between, you have some of the lowest property taxes in the entire United States. We are talking about tax bills that are hundreds of dollars a year, not thousands. It keeps your monthly payment tiny. It frees up cash for travel, for hobbies, for saving, for retirement. But remember the golden rule of economics. Low taxes mean the local government runs lean. Services might not be as fast as you are used to. The library might have limited hours. The roads might be a little rougher. So the strategy here is self-reliance. If you move to Alabama, you need to embrace the DIY spirit. Be ready to handle things yourself. Build an emergency fund specifically for house and car repairs. If a storm knocks out the power, don't wait for the city to save you immediately. Buy a generator. Have a plan. That independence is part of the culture here, and it is empowering. Let's talk about the specific financial trade-off. Alabama has low property taxes, but it has high sales taxes. In many places, you will pay 10% tax on everything you buy, including groceries. This shocks people who aren't ready for it. But here is how you win. Do the math. If you save $3,000 a year on property taxes, but pay an extra $500 a year in grocery taxes, you are still winning big. Just be aware of it. Budget for it. Don't let the receipt surprise you. And let's talk about the weather. Alabama gets storms. Tornadoes are a real thing here, but you don't have to live in fear. You just have to live with preparation. When you buy a house, look for a storm shelter. If it doesn't have one, budget $5,000 to install one. Download a good weather app and buy a NOAA weather radio. The locals aren't scared because they are prepared. They know what to do when the siren goes off. Once you have your safety plan locked in, you can relax and enjoy the benefits. And the benefits are huge. The people in Alabama are some of the friendliest you will ever meet. Southern hospitality is real here. Neighbors actually talk to each other. They bring you food when you move in. They watch your house when you go on vacation. In a place with fewer government services, the community fills the gap. That human connection is something we have lost in a lot of expensive, busy cities. Moving here isn't just about saving money. It is about rejoining a community. If you are prepared, Alabama offers a quality of life that is hard to beat for the price. Number 2, West Virginia. Number 2 is West Virginia. If you love the outdoors, this is paradise. We are talking about world-class hiking, whitewater rafting on the New River, fishing in streams that are crystal clear, views that belong on a postcard, and homes that are incredibly affordable. You can buy a historic brick house, a real piece of architecture, for almost nothing. It is a chance to be a pioneer, to restore something beautiful. The economy here is transitioning. It used to be coal. Now, it is finding a new way. It can feel a little quiet, some might say isolated. But for the right person, that silence is golden. It is a place to write that book, to focus on your art, to disconnect from the noise of the world. But to make it work, you need to solve the connectivity puzzle. West Virginia is mountainous. That is why it is beautiful, but that is also why cell service can be spotty. Before you buy, check the map. If you can't get cable internet, Starlink is your best friend here. It has changed the game for living in the hollers. With a satellite dish, you can be trading stocks on Wall Street from a cabin in the woods. Let's talk about the housing opportunity. Because the population has declined, there is a surplus of housing stock. You aren't fighting a bidding war here. You can take your time. You can inspect the foundation. You can negotiate, but be ready to do some work. Contractors can be hard to find because the labor force is smaller. If you are willing to learn how to sand floors or patch drywall, you can build massive equity. You can turn a $50,000 house into a masterpiece. And let's talk about the community vibe. West Virginia has faced hard times. The opioid crisis hit hard here. You will see it. But you will also see incredible resilience. People here are tough. They are loyal. They look out for each other. Don't just buy a house and hide on your mountain. Go into town. Eat at the local diner. Support the local artists. West Virginia has a thriving arts and crafts culture. Quilting, woodworking, music. There is a soul to this place that you don't find in the suburbs. If you bring your energy and your optimism, you aren't just buying a cheap house. You are becoming part of a story of renewal. It is a challenge, yes, but it is a meaningful one. Number 1, Mississippi. And finally, number 1, Mississippi, the most affordable state in America. Your dollar stretches further here than anywhere else. You can live on a budget that would be impossible in New York or California. For retirees or people on a fixed income, this is a lifeline. It takes the pressure off. You don't have to grind just to pay rent. You can actually retire. You can fish. You can sit on the porch. You can enjoy life. But Mississippi requires a specific playbook to navigate the challenges. First, let's talk about the survival tax. We know the healthcare system in rural areas is stretched thin. Hospitals are far apart. So your strategy is prevention and logistics. Use the money you save on housing to invest in your health. Buy better food. Join a gym. And most importantly, build a relationship with a doctor in a major hub like Jackson, Memphis, or Mobile. Don't rely solely on the local clinic for major issues. Plan your medical tourism trips. Treat it like a project. Second, the heat. Mississippi is hot and humid. The heat index can be intense, but you can handle it if you prepare. When you look for a house, look at the HVAC system first. Is it new? Is the ductwork good? Budget for a dehumidifier? It makes the air feel 10 degrees cooler and protects your home from mold. Adapt your schedule. Do your gardening in the morning. Rest in the afternoon. Enjoy the warm evenings. Adopt the local pace of life. It is slower for a reason. Third, the mindset. Mississippi has a reputation for poverty. And yes, the statistics are real, but statistics don't define your personal experience. There is a richness here that isn't measured in GDP. It is the literary history. Faulkner, Welty, Grisham. It is the blues music. It is the culinary tradition. If you move here, dive into that culture. Don't look at Mississippi as a place of lack. Look at it as a place of potential. It gives you the most precious resource of all, time. Time you aren't spending working to pay a landlord. Time to be with family. Time to create. So let's go back to that Zillow listing. The $45,000 house. Is it risky? Sure. Life is risky. But it is also an open door. A chance to rewrite your financial future if you go in smart, if you prepare for the bumps in the road, if you bring your own resilience, then yes, you can turn that cheap house into a rich life. It isn't about where you move. It is about how you live when you get there. I hope this helps you find your place. Subscribe for more guides on living well in America. Good luck.